live. Yeah, we going live. Hey, we going live. Yeah, we going live. Yeah, we going. Yeah, we going. Yeah, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello.
I am Jarrett, the football genius Burgess.
And I am Stephanie Fitzpatrick, aka the Advantage Coach.
This is episode 104.
Yes, as I had to so
podcast.
eloquently tell Coach Cofield today.
Look, the only reason I remember is because you told Coach Cofield today. I was like, oh, yeah, episode 104 is today.
Yeah.
But no, before even getting started, I want to apologize to our fans. We need to apologize to our fans. We need to apologize to women athletes everywhere. And we just need to apologize to women.
Right, in general, because this is a slap in their face for sure.
Right. And this is something that you actually brought to my attention, which is why, I kind of took the onus of apologizing for, because before you said anything, like, it hadn't even dawned on me that not only did we not mention the NCAA tournament last week when we were talking about the women's NCAA tournament, like, I hadn't even paid attention to if they had a selection show or what their brackets look like. So when we did Who's Really Right last week, we talked about the men's side of the bracket and what it's going to look like. Didn't even dawn on me that we didn't do the same thing for women. The women's bracket. And unfortunately that's kind of in line with how women basketball has been treated, not just this year, but just kind of over the landscape of women's sports. And it's unfortunate, and it's more than unfortunate, but just thinking about us when we talk about like women's sports, and we always make sure we giving it up. And then in this month, which is
right.
Month,
how horrible in this month to forget.
Right. So
I was so ashamed of myself because I basically pulled the content that we use. So for me to even not register, I just felt horrible. So I'm glad we are acknowledging this right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
So ladies, we certainly apologize.
Absolutely.
Blame it on our minds and not our hearts.
And I'm still in shock. I'm sorry.
Right. we are going to give you guys your flowers today. Yeah, we rectifying it today.
Absolutely.
And so we're gonna start off with that. Before we get to Who's Really Right, which is for those of you who listened last week, our Who's Really Right is really us. We're going to choose. We get a reprieve from our broken brackets. But this Who's Really Right today, we will include the women's round of 8 in the Final Four in our Who's Really Right this week. So but let's just talk about minus us. What's been happening in women's basketball for the last, we could say in this existence,
forever.
But specifically this NCAA tournament. What's some of the things that you've seen?
So apparently, like, one of the things that the coverage has always been an issue, right?
Yes.
It's always been the same way it is with the WNBA. It's just always this huge disparity in the coverage. But thanks to this world of social media that we have, what really brought things to a head, this particular for 2021, was a social media post that a young lady put out in regards to the training facilities that they have versus what the men had.
Right.
And literally, from what her picture said, it was just a set of weights. They had just a room with a set of weights in it. And then the picture of the men's training room is all of these machines. It's like beautiful. It's huge. It's all of this. And so pretty much they called out the NCAA. NCAA, of course, came back because the Holzman, I think is her name, Elizabeth Holzman. She is over women's basketball for the NCAA. And so she immediately, came out. They had a coaches call, asking the coaches what their, letting them know that they were sorry and that they recognized that they messed up, because it was like just disparities, not just in training, just training facilities, just the cleaning that was happening, the food they were getting. Even
did you see the food?
It looked like jail stuff compared. Like what? Like what are you doing?
That certainly looked like prison food.
Yes, and so I was like, wow, this is serious. So that's when it really hit me. Like, no, this needs to be talked about, and we were complicit in not being talked about it. Yeah, not having talked about this, and so I feel like it's huge. I got a couple of Jay Billis came out, and I'm going to just read what he said. He said, the concepts of fairness and equity are not difficult. The disparities in amenities, testing. Oh, that's the other thing, the testing. They don't even test the women the way they've been testing the men. What is that? So the testing in courts, to name just a few things, are indicators of systemic issues within the NCAA with regarding how women's sports are viewed and valued. That, quote unquote, nobody thought of it. Ensuring what was done for the men's event was done for the women's event is revealing. The fact that they would say nobody thought about it, like just like we did, like it just, And so, and they said, and so too was the NCAA's lame response. Jay Billis, this is Jay Billis now. He said the time for the NCAA's rationalizing these issues is long over. Leadership has failed in this and other areas concerning gender equity, and only make excuses and searches for an underling to blame. If you want evidence of the chief executive's indifference, ask how many women's tournament games he's attended versus men's tournament games. The NCAA and its leadership talks a good game. Don't listen to what they say. Watch what the NCAA does. What the NCAA does for women is significantly less than for men. Thank you for championing this for women, Jay Billis. That was huge.
Yeah. Very huge.
I appreciate because he's got a voice. Right.
In basketball,
he's got a voice. So I appreciate him championing this for them. And then the other
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Real quick, the one thing I also want to give him respect for is he didn't just say it was wrong. He called out the leadership of the NCAA, which it always needs to happen. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's great. And so this was the best quote for me. Nell Fortner, she is the head basketball coach for the Georgia Tech women's basketball team. She said, thank you for using the 3 biggest weeks of your organization's year to expose exactly how you feel about women's basketball. An afterthought.
Well, they said it.
I don't know if there's any other way to put it, but that's it.
That's it.
I was like, that's it.
All right.
So, I'm ashamed as a woman, particularly, but angered at the continued lack of respect for women's sport. Like, it is just incredible to me, because these women are putting in the same amount of work, hard, that the time, the sacrifice that you see from the men, and for them not to get what they deserve is criminal.
I think that there's no excuse you can make with the NCAA. There's absolutely no excuse. And one of the things that I found fascinating when I did a little digging about this story, and one of the things that kind of it stuck out, but you probably wouldn't notice it, is that even in the branding of the tournament, they call the men's tournament March Madness.
Yeah.
They just call the women's tournament the 2021
Yep.
NCAA women's championship tournament.
Because it's all, and I never knew that, because in my head, it's all March Madness.
Right.
I never knew it was like this distinguished thing. I thought it was just March Madness because all basketball happens. I literally never thought about it in terms of it being gender specific. Right. That's so weird and crazy. Like, whatever. Yeah, I'm disappointed, but we stay that way, right? So yeah. So I hope that this doesn't become one of those, we're going to talk about another issue that I'm afraid is going to take the same turn, where it's just something that they kind of talk about for the moment because it's a hot button topic, and then they say, oh, we'll talk about it or fix it afterwards.
Next year.
They sweep it under and it never happens. And I don't want to see that happen. I hope that this kind of catches a wave that's kind of almost like the one that we have with Black Lives Matter, or not even, I don't even want to say that anymore, with all of the horrific things that have been happening in the Asian community, just to people of color, period. I will say that, the racial inequality that is forefront right now. I hope that same steam happens for gender equality when it comes to sport.
Right. And those voices, just like Jay Billis's voice, like they're the ones, they got to keep applying pressure. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about deep in the football season. Like, we know basketball season coming back around. Is it going to look the way it did last year? Right. Or the years that it's been looking, in the past. No, I'm going to be really paying attention, because I purposely haven't watched men's basketball the men's basketball tournament this year. I haven't watched any of it on purpose because I feel like, what's the point? Yeah. It's not fair. So, yeah. I'll be honest, it hasn't been because I was, maybe, protesting or anything like that. But I haven't really watched the games either. Like, I may catch a highlight here or there. Yeah. But typically, when I want to find out what happened, I go look at how bad my bracket looks, and I just kind of let it roll like that. But I haven't really watched any of the games.
Yeah. No, I've been paying a little more attention to the women's side, just because, like, I feel like that's my ability to not even to make up, but the solidarity that I want to share with show them. When I see a game on ESPN2 and it's a women's basketball game, I turn it to it, and I'm gonna give it some time. Like, what I mean? Like, no, like, so interesting.
Well, and that's the way you protest. You protest with your eyes, because your eyes are a part of this big machine that drives revenue, and that's how you vote. You know what I'm saying?
They said it's $1 billion that they make off of it. $1 billion. Every March they get just off of this $1 billion.
Crazy.
And you can't find a way to get these women some more. Anyway.
Ain't no way.
Anyway. Some better facilities, some better.
Yeah.
It's criminal.
Now put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras on me.